The Phoenician Scheme is a 2025 espionage dark comedy film produced, written, and directed by Wes Anderson from a story he conceived with Rayaan Coppola. Wealthy businessman Zaza Korda names his only daughter, a devout nun, as the sole heir to his estate. As Korda launches a bold new venture, he quickly attracts the attention of ruthless tycoons, foreign terrorists, and relentless assassins. All right, so I watched The Phoenician Scheme. I watched it in theaters too, with a friend of mine, and this is definitely the most Wes Anderson film ever of his filmography. And what I mean by that is, like, if you take the attributes of Wes Anderson's films, like the quirkiness, the deadpan tones and deliveries, the production design, like all of that is just like amplified by 100. And so it is probably like one of his most zaniest and eccentric films to date. I thought The Phoenician Scheme was the most quirkiest adventure yet of his films. And the production design, like I said, it's amplified by 100, and I thought it was impeccable, to be honest. I very much liked it. Impeccable quality. I believe this film was made on somewhere around like $30 to $50 million budget. And so I thought, that was put to good use in terms of the filmmaking process. Although, to be fair, I'm not sure if that money will be made back. Mostly because, and I'll sort of get into this in the review, but this was obviously it was a multi-million-dollar process. But I do think that The Phoenician Scheme is one of his less approachable films. Even the title itself, The Phoenician Scheme, you could say a bit of a mouthful, but I do think it's sort of less approachable. And I'll just get into the review of it. But anyways, in this film, we do have some returning themes that we've seen in previous ones, such as rivalries. There's quite a bit of gore in this film. The dysfunctional families, those types of dynamics, we see that again. But the central focus of this film is definitely on, the danger of wealth. There's a lot of people who are greedy in this film, but it also values the importance of family. And not only that, but the importance of family over, wealth, of course, but also like business in general, and just, tangible, inanimate, tangible stuff, I guess. But yeah, and just like the importance of connections and sustaining a familial connection with people. But yeah, anyways, Benicio del Toro, he plays the protagonist. And I believe Del Toro and Michael Cera, were like the first two people attached to this film. And both of them, of course, knocked it out of the park, especially Benicio. He plays a resilient entrepreneur, Zaza Korda. And this character, essentially, he's like survived multiple assassination attempts. And so, right off of that brief synopsis, you could sort of tell like the wackiness of this entire adventure. It's sort of like playful dark humor, and you get that within like the very first couple minutes, which I really, really liked. This film also has like several color palettes. It's just like saturated to the brim with all these different types of colors. Even like the introduction itself, like when it's introducing the title, obviously I won't spoil how it's done, but like it just plays with lots of colors during the title sequence. And so I would say sometimes it is a bit excessive in that regard. But you could say it's excessive, but on the other hand, you could also say it just adds to the overall absurdity, depending on how you look at it. Because Wes Anderson's films, they occupy their own genre. And so you can't really say like, oh, he's doing too much of that, because that's kind of what he's known for. Another thing, so the film, I thought it was a very well-structured story overall. It's a lot more eccentric, although you sort of expect that by now. It's structured, so very inventive, I thought, but it's structured around shoeboxes. I thought that was highly original, inventive, super hilarious. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's basically like, it's sort of like segmented into chapters, and then like each chapter would be like a shoebox. So I thought that was just super, cool. Um, Overall, the pacing, I've heard some people online saying they thought it was consistent. I would say that too. I mean, like, I was invested in the character's journey for sure, but sometimes I felt it was a bit inconsistent, and I would say mostly tied to the humor aspect of this film. Like, okay, so I think, yeah, Wes Anderson is for sure known for his deadpan tones and, the restrained deliveries from some of his characters. Like, sometimes you'll know that joke won't hit because that's just like natural Wes Anderson um, filmmaking, I guess. But there are some times where, like, a character will say, like, some sort of joke, or like, not like they're not trying to make a joke, but like the delivery of the line, you can tell like this is supposed to be like a punchline. And so there'll just be like 5 seconds of silence right after. It's like, I don't know, I feel like this film just weighs, it feels like when it's going for humor, it weighs too much on the silence aspect of it. And sometimes, it's meant to be deadpan, but I'm thinking about this from the perspective of a non-fan of the Wes Anderson genre, and it sort of comes across as a bit cringy, just a tad bit cringy. And so, interestingly, I actually found the humor aspect to be a lot more stronger during like the witty one-liners, during the dialogue back and forth, because that's another thing Wes Anderson is known for, like very quick dialogue sequences. And so I actually found the humor to be a lot stronger when it was like paced a lot more quickly, as opposed to like when it's sort of drowned in this silence. And so I guess what I'm saying is I don't like it when the humor is dragged. Maybe that's just an opinion I have overall, but especially pertaining to this film, I thought the humor was a bit dragged, a bit too much. And so I didn't really appreciate that. But yeah. Oh, yeah, and this movie does have a lot of, or a lot less big laughs than usual. Also, when I'm comparing this film, I'm usually comparing it to like Grand Budapest Hotel, because I would say that's Wes Anderson's magnum opus, in my opinion. I just love that film. It's like one of my favorite films of all time, and I thought that film was also hilarious. But yeah, I think The Phoenician Scheme has fewer big laughs, but it definitely has those sharp one-liners, which that's the type of humor that I appreciated. Those quick, witty deliveries. This film is also visually stunning. I mentioned it before. The production design is out of this world. It's very meticulous, as you would expect. Wes Anderson is all about symmetry. That man loves his symmetry. It's kind of his signature style, I guess, too. So I thought that was great. The music, I was not expecting the music to be as rememberable, I guess, as it was. I mean, I'm talking about it right now, but I thought the music was cleverly curated, and very dynamic. It has composers like Beethoven and Bach, and so yeah, I just really like the music. It just makes it very whimsical. If I could describe this movie in one word, it would definitely be whimsical. And so I thought, yeah, the score is very intentional and very great. The ensemble cast, of course, we got to get into the actors. My Letterboxd review is, what did I say? I think I said, at this point, being in a Wes Anderson film is a career milestone, which I think is very true. I mean, I didn't see Asteroid City, but I saw in the cover poster, or like the cover art, all these A-list actor names, and the Phoenician Scheme is no different. It has a very, very strong ensemble cast. I think Michael Cera would probably be my favorite. Him and Riz Ahmed, actually, those are probably my personal favorites. They just knock it out of the park, especially Michael Cera. His character has like a sudden shift that I won't spoil, but I thought it was just incredible. Even the accent works. The accents were just so mesmerizing in a way and so unconventional. And so it definitely felt like every actor knew what they were doing. Like they've seen Wes Anderson's films before. They knew what they were a part of, and so they just put themselves to work, and they really just felt a part of the atmosphere, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I said before, this film overall, I thought it was great, but I will likely not appeal to non-fans of the genre, mostly because of the deadpan tones, you know, the excessiveness of like the whole color palettes. You know, it's just a very it's a very different film than, you know, your average movie, I guess. But that's what I appreciate about Wes Anderson. You know, he always pushes it to the next level. Yeah, but still, I found myself very invested in it. I don't think it's as rewatchable though as his previous works, but yeah, I mean, that's, you know, this premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, and I'm pretty sure it had a standing ovation. So there will obviously be some people who respect the work of Wes Anderson, but there will be some people who just think it's, you know, cringy or just like not into it. But either way, I think, you know, he'll definitely find his audience. Or I mean, he definitely already has found his audience with his films, and so I appreciated it. I thought it was satisfying. Highly recommend this film. It was a great experience. I will give the Phoenician Scheme an 8 out of 10. That's about it. So yeah, see ya. Hope you have enjoyed.